All right, continuing on the little jewel journey. Got a Fender started, got a running board started, got a few other things intact, but there was some controversy. Controversy was, hey, with the Fender mounted solid and it's lapping around that tire, how the heck are you gonna get the tire off if you get a flat? Because the tire and the fender travel together. It's not like, the fender lifts off of the tire as the suspension moves. They work in unison, in tandem, as one piece. Is that a problem for you? I didn't think so, because it's not a problem for me either. What we're gonna do, we're gonna show the world how simple it is to remedy that and set up some taillights. That's right, we're gonna set up some taillights too. Also, as well, in addition to the Fender, here we go. Okay, so here's what we ended up with. I went through and fiberglassed the heck out of this, so it's very rough. There's a lot of gear coming off the sides here that needs to be trimmed out. But what I wanted to do was show that this isn't how the Fender's actually stuck. Even though we're gonna finish this off, this is gonna come through and just have a little bit of a flange on this end. Right now we have these 2.5-inch tubes, and we're gonna come up with this very simple solution. So if you do get a flat tire, in the rare event that you do, this hinge is just gonna open like that. The fender will be clear of the tire. Also, the hinge will have a pin, so you can just pull it out, take the whole thing off, should you need to. So sometimes you gotta go forward to go backwards, but it's all progress. To set this up with the hinge and everything, etc., would have been more challenging than doing this, so I digress. Let's go to the workbench, talk shop. You see the workbench is really starting to stack up. That's when you know we are in the flow. We got a welding helmet full of tools. We got hand wipes, stuff everywhere. Ah, that's what I was looking for. Piece of 1.5-inch tube that we mocked up this hinge with. Got a couple door hinges. They're pretty heavy duty. Steel, and they got some grease in there. It's a nice set. Got 2 of those. Actually I have 4, but we're gonna use 2. So I took that and I cut it down to this, the bare essentials. That way you got 2 outside flanges and 1 inner. That's pretty darn strong. And then I took some angle steel, drilled 2 holes in it. You see where we're going here? If you don't, you're about to find out. Anyways, I just took this 1.5-inch tube and mocked that up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna slice through those 2 tubes and hinge it and make it fasten. So, okay, you get a flat tire, you know you're gonna have to take these 2 nuts off to change the tire. Big deal. You got 10 giant lug nuts. What's 2 3/8-inch bolts, right? Right. We're gonna splice into that and get on with the program. Not a junkyard find, but a disassembly yard find. Look at that. Not changing the names to protect the innocent, but not mentioning names to protect the innocent. Fellow was dismantling all these trucks and he had piles of these taillights, and I'm like, he said, here they are. Taillights, brand new. Now, another criticism I got was, man, those tubes are all crooked. Look at it. It goes up and then down. Well, yeah, it goes up and then down because it's up here, which is going to be a big pad to stand on. Feeling me? Doesn't matter what it looks like. I wanted a high spot to mount off of. Trust the process, okay? Now, the choice is, where do we put the hinge? Do we put it here so that this thing flips up? We could do that, but I feel like if we put it here, it would be better. That way, when it's closed, it's just closing shut like this. So the hinge pin will be back here and the taillights will hide it. So I don't think there's anything to it except to cut right through this and insert that thing. So now that this is glassed, it's very rigid. We got a mount here holding it. So I think we'll be safe enough just slicing through this, handling it. Okay, so I was thinking maybe we're gonna hinge it down here but I don't think that's appropriate because if we hinge it here, so this comes back. If it hits that, no, that'll still be plenty of room to take the tire off. Yeah, let's just hit it right at that support bracket. Now, it is a pleasure to share all of these fabrication adventures, but one of the frustrating things is when people assume. You know what they say about the ass that assumes. It's not necessary to always have some kind of a controversy brewing. Look at that. Sometimes you just gotta wait for it. Something about too many chiefs spoiling the soup or something like that. You know the saying. Too many engineers, too many chefs, whatever the statement is. I got a welder. I got all the time in the world. If this project's ever gonna get finished, you gotta make baby steps. All right, now this one I'm gonna make pretty easy to take off. I think I'll cut it right here. No, I think I'll cut it right here. So again, this one's gonna be mounted to one side of the tube and then that. And you take the hardware out, just swing open, and it'll shut. So you got a flat, those two come out. Uh-oh, that ain't gonna work. There it is. Yeah, perfect. Oh, it's this clamp. I was like, what the heck is hanging up? There it is. Totally cool. Flat tire, bada boom. Now I can finish all this top and bottom off. I like it. Sometimes it's the little things, you know what I'm saying? People getting hung up on the details. Piece of cake. Now, about these taillights. What do we do here? Maybe we'll make the step today too. We'll get into cutting that stuff off. So we got a hinge showing now that I don't necessarily want to see. Maybe we'll do both taillights. Yeah, let me rise up this one here. I'll just put this bracket in, that way we can get both taillights in place. These are cool because I got some big 3-bolt flanges on them. But the aluminum, I think, that'll look pretty cool like that too, wouldn't it? Or do we want it like this? The red inside? No, the other way. Yeah, we don't want it wider. Do we want it wider on the bottom? What do you think? You think about, man, they got some heavy freaking hardware on these things. I don't even know what's going on here. It's like a big plastic nut. I don't know. Must be some DOT stuff. Looks better. Nah. I mean, that'll keep it away from the tires decisions, right? I was thinking about bolting these on. I'm trying not to make it too complicated. I thought I was going to bolt it to there. Maybe I'll just bolt it right to here. That'll be way easier. Does anybody have any idea what these plastic things are? It's like you'd think that it would be attached with a steel hardware. Like those are massive bolts for a freaking taillight too. This is weird. Are they like a lock nut or something? I don't know. A red guard of some kind? Look at the size of these bolts. Just to hold a taillight on. They spared no expense, I tell you. Are these lock nuts too? Truck stuff, you know? It's gotta go to the job site. It's gotta last forever. No excuses. Last thing you need is a moving violation for a taillight coming off. Massive hardware. Yeah, if anybody knows why you would have hardware so damn big, let me know. Guess I'm gonna get the air tool to take the taillight off. You know, I think that looks the best out of all of it. Let's do that. Now, there was some criticism about the front headlights being tucked in, and I'm sure there'll be some criticism about the rear taillights, but it's custom, and that's the look I want. I don't want anything sticking out. All right, so it's got bolt holes. That looks nice. Let's just go off of that. And it looks like our harness actually gonna be a little narrow. We had done that. would have been enough. But I don't like that. I like them wider on the top. So we'll just clip this and make an extension. Not a big deal. Yeah, I feel like I like that the best. So I say we just take a piece of angle, or maybe we want to go lower. Or do you want, ooh, look at that. It's pretty narrow though. Maybe that. That's pretty cool. Decisions, because it comes to thinking about what's it going to look like here with the, you know, abbreviated body. I was thinking it's just going to be a straight shot of steel covering this. So, I mean, to have them in there would be tight. Definitely be discreet. I think I like this the best. I think we can get away with just drilling right through here. Let's just make sure we're on the same wavelength here. I know I laid this out on the floor when I built it, but you know how that goes. So it's 15 to there, 15 to there. Yeah, no, they're even. Cool. So where do we want this hole now? Just gonna eyeball this one, then we're gonna match it. What's this say? Yeah, I think right about there looks awesome. So if we did that, and put this one here. Now I'm not gonna put those giant bolts through this. That's just way overkill. I don't wanna compromise this strength. So we're gonna hang these with 3/8 inch bolts. Remember, it's a custom vehicle. You don't need to worry about all the logistics and legalities. I'm not trying to get involved with that stress. Our holes are 7.5 and 13.5. Might have to go get some hardware. Let's find out. You'll see if I got some bolts. Every once in a while, good fortune shines. Not very often, but on occasion. You actually have the hardware you need. Look at that. Brilliant. I don't know why those bolts are sitting in there, but they were. Get some locking hardware on these, and since they're mounted on a round spot, I may mess with them a little bit if they hang wrong. You know, they might be wrapping around the tube or something. What's this? Yeah, I like this. It says utility, no frills. I know it's kind of a different vibe for this truck because this truck has a lot of flair. What is this? Heck yeah, that's about the easiest thing I've ever done in my whole life. Now, what are we thinking about for the rest of this? Do I want to put some sheet metal on this? I don't know. Do I want to build a step? What are we doing today? We just made our fender hinge and we got 2 headlights or taillights, so that's a start. You know, I do got to get into all this business with the fenders. But I think I'm going to save the fiberglass for the cooler season, to be honest. Yeah, so what we want to do is make sure that this is worthy of a step. You know, all of a sudden that introduced quite a bit of flex. And it's not fully welded in the backside, but that's more flex than I like to see. So for a step, that may not be optimal. Do we change the trajectory of this upper mount now? Do we bring it down low? And we can do what we want. You know, I was just reaching. I was throwing ideas at this thing. Maybe we cut this off and bring it down low. Any ideas out there? Anyone? Yeah, I don't like this. Let's take this off. This goes to show if I had a plan, it might be done by now. Maybe that's flexing because this isn't attached. Because this thing didn't even have bolts in it. How's that? Still pretty flexible. Sorry for the distraction, folks. I just can't see this work. Now you remember, we have that there as a spacer. Check. This looks good. Now let's cut this off. That's the thing about metal. You may think it's all big and strong and scary. But you can just cut it off at will. Just try again. So I think it'll look better if it's lower. I'm gonna drop it down to there. Yeah. So I'm actually gonna put this in a trailer hitch and take some of that bend out. I'm gonna put a crowbar in here. Try to take a little bit of that out of there. So that looks good like that. No, I want less bend. Okay, what do we got? So I'm just gonna cut this off, be right back. Yeah, that's a lot cleaner. A lot cleaner. Cool, there we are. That's gonna be a little fiddling to get this to all jive with the fiberglass, but I'll make it happen. So I'll finish this off with welding, but I was just thinking about this right here. And the fact that there was some looseness on the step, we're gonna remedy that. Just thinking. Because if the hinge is just flexing right there, actually that's really stable now. That changed everything. Maybe it's because I tack welded it shut. Let's check that out. Yeah, so you got that flex right there. We're gonna put a big steel block right here. That way when that hinge comes down, it's got a big landing point. Let's find something chunky. Yeah, this heavy plate will do. So I think we're gonna come out. Let's cut 2 of these. Let's come out to the brake drum. That's a substantial landing pad. I'm gonna cut 2 of those. All right, so as this comes down, we're gonna want little tabs on each side so it stays. So I got this 1/8 inch material. It's gonna be our little guides. Pretty busy design, but I want that step stuck. Do not want that thing. Now imagine if you stand on it and the little hinge pin deflects and you fall down hard off the truck. So I'm gonna split this in half, but you get what I'm saying. One of these on each side. Comes down, it's locked. I'm gonna slice this, put it together. Not a lot to discuss here, but I'm gonna clamp this and weld it. So the weld actually pulled it out a little bit, and that's in our favor. The way it's sort of a little V groove that it settles into. Cool. I'm gonna put this in place. Hopefully we can do this without me blocking it. Now, definitely gonna wanna cut that back from the tire a little bit. No, it's not gonna hit. It's not gonna wobble. Maximum security. You know what? Just because this is super hot, I ain't trying to hold on to it just yet. I'm gonna trim this out a little bit. I'm gonna come and take this off. And then I'm gonna take this. No, I'm gonna take this off. I'll slice it right now. So tempting to just go fast and rush through things. And you see what I ended up with before, when I redid it. I was going fast. And I was just thinking, my friend Barry, Buggy Trash Dad, gave me a set of aluminum steps. If I could find those, they might look great up here. Yeah, it looks a little bit better. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna raise this up just a little bit more because, you know, I could press down and this is flexing. So we're gonna add just a little bit. And then we could put the blades, we could put the disc in there and fine tune how the steel sits. Piece of chalk, just what I have. See what I'm saying? We can whittle away where that thing closes so we get a perfect height when you step there. look at that. Let's see, so that is closed. Cool. See, now you're not just levering on this plate. You got a hard landing zone. It's just as strong as if that tube was there. Yeah, that's all right by me. I mean, if we really wanted to, we could just drill a hole right through there and bolt it. And then it's like 1,000,000% strong. Why don't we just do that? You can even just put a pin through there. Just gonna leave the drill bit in there for a minute. Yeah, so if we bolt that, it is Loctite. Cool. Be right back. I'm gonna see if we have a step. Do a little digging around. All right, well, I did find those steps. So this is meant to like go as you step up into this vehicle. But maybe we can modify them. They're aluminum. But man, that looks, I'm not looking at this. I'm looking at this. That's pretty cool. Maybe we just make a plate coming off of here and that sits on there. We'll just chop these off. Yeah, that looks cool. So I will sand these and round them off and weld a big steel plate right there. Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna weld this, then I'll cut it right in place. Just to finish this up, to get a result. So this is acting as another gusset to the center spine. Okay, so this has got to come back approximately that much. And for that to sit there, we want this to come back here. Let's weld this on. Yeah, so I'll just finish that up a little bit better. But the idea is that join isn't really showing. And got a good step. One last wrap up to make sure I didn't weld anything together. Now that it's cooled down a little bit. So you get a flat tire, big deal. You get one of those little electrical impact wrenches. You keep it in your toolkit. You buzz these two bolts off, and you fix your tire. And again, if I want to simplify it even more, I could just put a hitch pin through that and one bolt down here with another pin. But I mean, is it an Indy car pit stop if you get a flat tire in your toy? No. You're most likely gonna have all day. You're gonna say, man, truck ain't going nowhere. Let's take those two bolts off, change the tire. See how it works? The little blade locates right there. That ain't going nowhere. Locked. I rest my case. My case I rest. You're up here, you're reaching, you got a foot pad, it's solid. Got tail lights. Whew. Here we go. Little by little. What's next? Hopefully the bug. We got a whole other half a truck to build. See you then.